Mm-hmm. 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 Woo! What is happening, traders? How are we doing today, guys? Make sure to slap the subscribe button and like, because that's what's going to help the algorithm push this video. But I wanted to start and preface this by saying not financial advice, but shout out to my boy Kyle freaking Jones, giving a second membership of our channel's history. And that means so much, genuinely, because that's the bedrock foundation of what we grow on. He emphasized a cup of coffee a month to support the dreams of someone taking a positive path in life. Easy choice. Stay well, buddy. So love you, Kyle. But the entire preface of this video is going to be talking about stock ticker NIO, baby. And so Nio seeing a pretty substantial technical breakout here, and I wanted to cover where I think it could go next and what the potential risks to the downside may be. Like I said, slap the subscribe, slap the like, and let's jump straight into the technical analysis. So Nio Stock up 3.16 on the day, actually outperforming the broader market. Super interesting to see, right? And when you look at the earnings that had caused that, you actually beat earnings, right? Your earnings were estimated to be negative 0.5 cents per share, right? And you beat that with a profitable outcome. And that is tremendous for the trajectory of the stock. It's been one of our theses on why this company may turn the tide. And you're beginning to see that a little bit on the charts here, guys. So pay close attention as this descending channel that we've had drawn up on the chart since all the way back, I would say back here in November is when we called this out. You had the falling wedge that you broke out of, right? That was very important. Draw that up for you now. You had the falling wedge. You broke out of that, right? And what you started to do was you formed a bullish pennant. You failed to break out. Just absolutely got smashed all the way down to 450. And now you're finally seeing that breakup, right? So oftentimes what you'll see from the broader market, Nio fam, is you will see market makers drain the liquidity out of a stock. And when they're doing that, they are shaking the bags of retail and a little bit of a manipulative play, right? But that's unfortunately the reality, is you came all the way back on Nio Stock. You filled the gap at 450. You left right here. And then you tapped along this very important trend line. And I will emphasize this in just 1 second, so pay attention. You have a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? And now you've made back-to-back higher lows. Now, I do believe from the aspect of the chart, you're going to go now and make a higher high. That's the picture that this chart is showing. And when you look at the breakout, right? When you formed this bearish channel, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 taps along this sloping resistance. That is a valid trend, right? And so when you zoom in here, you can see just how much it matters, just how much that you gapped above this trend. That shows strength, right? That shows that the bulls are in control. And so now I would not be surprised to see Nio Stock pull back here, fill the gap sitting at 588, right? And then finally look to lift off. Now, if you do so, I would not be surprised also to see any of the other gaps fill, because you do have multiple ones currently sitting at 497, and then a trend line, which you've been holding resistance, and that would tap somewhere around 560. Now, 560 is the key level to hold. If you're going to hold anything, you want to hold that. So let's take a little bit more of a macro picture so you guys can see we're so freaking close to entering the bull zone on the RSI. And what is that? That is your 70 overall rating on the RSI. RSI standing for Relative Strength Index. Oftentimes, RSI standing for Relative Strength Index oftentimes shows the bullish strength of a stock, right? And you can see bullish or bearish divergences off of this, but there's something called the bull zone. And that is when the RSI gets above 70, it is officially overbought. But typically, your most explosive moves happen once you hit that trajectory, right? You can look here. Once you entered the bull zone, you had a 9% and a 14% move back-to-back days. So now when I'm watching that on Nio Stock, I want to see this thing begin to get more volatile as the volume continues to trickle in here. You can see here on the 25th of July, you had a 7% day, and then you topped out at a 2% day, took a pullback breather, and then extended the run, right? Now, the candle formation you closed on was a freaking beautiful one. You had an inverted hammer stick candle, which, in my opinion, is going to lead to more boom boom candles. And you can see here on the daily time frame. If I pull up the daily, right? Drum roll. You have back to back to back green freaking days with higher and higher volume in each day. That is the pounding at the doors, right? Retail is pounding at the doors of this trend line, and you finally broke it. You can see the strength that is coming from that. And in my opinion, not financial advice, I expect this thing to go higher, right? We had our thesis going into the week, if you watched our last video, that the market would be green because crypto was green on Sunday. And typically that's the way you see it, right? Bitcoin is booming, and then you see the market follow. Now, IWM was up just a tad bit, up a little bit under 1%, as Trump talks about potentially ending the war. But Nio Stock outperformed the market and is beginning to see a breakout here. So this is what you need to see going forward in order to sustain that, right? You need to hold a weekly close above $6 to $5.60. That's important because you can see the rejections off of that, right? The first rejection leading down upwards of 25%. You had another rejection all the way back here. It's close. I would call that a rejection. This is a pop above and then a rejection, right? So you can see just how substantial this level has been. But that's not even the best part. The best part, the absolute juicy, finger-licking good part about this is you have the golden cross potentially happening on the daily. The golden cross is when the 50-day EMA, aka your intermediate trend, crosses above your long-term trend, which is your 200-day EMA. If that occurs, guys, I expect some absolutely tender-loving boom-boom candles out of this stock. And I expect it to happen off of high volume and for everyone to go crazy, right? You heard it here first. But I am worried about the gap. The gap sitting at 593. So that's what we're watching on Nio Stock. Looks really, really genuinely good on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, you already know we're breaking out on the weekly as well. You got that weekly MACD cross that we called in our last video. And then the monthly chart, nothing has really changed. But what I'd like to see on the monthly is you need to break this volume exhaustion on the monthly time frame. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in a row, traders, of less volume than the previous month. That is a very important metric. And when you see, right, the month has started slow, but if you close above, guys, and you break that overall monthly volume exhaustion, in my opinion, whatever way that breaks and whatever way the month closes, which it looks very, very positive right now, it is in my belief that you're going to see this thing absolutely turn the tide and break above the all-time resistance on Nio, the resistance that has led to the absolute craziest runs, which is 771. As you can see here, and we've covered this in other videos as well, you have a little bit of one of my favorite formations, which is the inverted head and shoulders candlestick pattern here, right? And when you take that profit target, baby, you get an absolutely crazy $18 to $16 profit target. And that is just the beginning of it. I really do believe that. That is just the beginning of what this thing could do if it continues to post positive earnings, right? Profitability, continue the cost cutting and expanding your margins. This thing is going to go absolutely ballistic, in my opinion. So very interested to see. If that is the case, right, if you're able to hold this strength and follow through on the breakout, that is what I believe to be in line. The worst case scenario, right, the case that no one wants to see happen, is you reject this, right? This closes a shooting star candle, which that would have to be a close beneath $6. And that is why it is so pivotal, traders, to everyone. If you have not paid attention to the whole video, this is the most important part. The reason why you have to close above $6 is if you fail to do so, you're either going to print a doji or a shooting star candle after a breakout of a descending channel. Oftentimes, that leads to a visit of the bottom slope of the channel. And if that happens, not only will you break your 3 rising valleys formation, you will break into the $3 territory, and nobody wants that, right? You need to step up now if you are a bull on this stock. And that is what I think is going to happen, right? You see the volume trend here on the weekly. It looks beautiful. And then the all going quarterly MACD chart that we're watching here, and a potential quarterly hammer candle. Now that we just took you step A, B, C, D, right, through every single time frame on Nio Stock, and every single time I see that it looks beautiful. It genuinely does. But you need to see follow through, and you need to see it now. There's no other time. This would be your first quarterly MACD cross since 2020, when you saw that crazy run up. Since 2020, when you saw that crazy run up. And from that, you saw an almost 3,000% move, right? Once you got that quarterly MACD cross from $2 up to 66. Now, I don't expect that same kind of move, but I do expect it to at least touch 28 to 16, right? One of these horizontal shelves, as I like to call it, is where I expect you to at least go to at the minimum. So that is very good. It bodes well for the community. I hope you guys win. Hope you guys are having a lovely freaking day. And just want to say God bless each and every single one of your families. Make sure to slap the like button, slap the subscribe button. And remember, the best is yet to come, guys. Much love and peace.